Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. There's Patrick.
Hey, Doug.
Hello there, Patrick.
Nice to see you. Or
Yeah,
you with
or
you?
nice to see my DW logo there.
Yeah, there you go. From our
It
side,
looks like,
Doug, George is in physical therapy today for a shoulder injury that he had, so he won't be with
yeah.
us today. But you just let me know when we've got kind of a quorum and we can get it
I
started here.
think we have a quorum. Actually, I'm just looking at all the names. Yeah,
All right,
I think
excellent.
we're good to go. And we're going
You want to?
to you're going to
Yeah, go
talk
ahead.
about RingCX and maybe show us a little bit of the
Yeah,
AI receptionist.
absolutely. Yeah, we can. And George kind of shared with me, or in the meeting invite, maybe there was some interest from certain departments in the county. So we could talk about use cases that um, the animal shelter or really any department may have specific to the needs as we get into it. Do you want to do any introductions, Doug, from your side, just to lay the land on who's with us this morning and roles, or do we want to kind of jump right into the demonstration?
I'll just say a couple of things, and then we can get going. The I want to thank everybody for being here. This is good. The our goal with this meeting with Patrick from Ring Central. Um, he's been a part of helping us approaching 2 years, but uh, as you know, we're all the BCC folks have been moved to Ring Central. We're still in the process of moving sheriff and some other things, but as far as BCC goes, we're all one big happy family back on one phone system again. And what we're discovering in a couple of areas is maybe now that we have some pretty cool toys in the sandbox, there might be cooler toys out there that we need to play with. As you know, in each office, a call comes in through a call queue, whether it's solid waste landfill, permitting, animal shelter, or just simply county attorney's office, whatever. All calls come in through a call queue, same as calling an airline. But it doesn't have too many things behind it. It's pretty basic, but it's pretty cool. And it allows for great call coverage. But it doesn't allow for things like somebody getting in a virtual line for a callback, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe a connection with somebody sending in a message from a web chat or something like that. Some of that stuff they refer to as different channels and how things get in. So we've had a few requests to see what else we can do, and we thought through some folks and invited just a handful of you to see if we go up to the next license level, if you will, for the type of licensing we use. Everyone across the board uses the same exact license. And we can upgrade that license and do some more things with some creation of some more stuff and allow you to do more things in your call queue. So there is an upcharge, but uh, I think you might see some of the things that you can do that would be wonderful and be able to perhaps help you in a great way. And I think if we have time and if I stop talking, Patrick will show us what else we can do with our call queues, how much more fancier they can be, and time permitting, there's another feature that RingCentral has called AI Receptionist. And I'm sure people have heard the term AI. But what it is allows, and I just jokingly say it's like you've put everything into the bucket. You want to put your websites, you want to put some PDFs, you want to put some FAQs, everything about that you do, that frequent questions, and you put them into this thing, and then people actually, instead of the typical "thank you for calling the animal shelter, if you know your party's extension, press whatever," it becomes more of a conversation where the people you introduce and you come up with some sort of greeting. Thank you for calling. And how can we help you today? And then they start talking, and guess what? The AI receptionist talks back to them. But that's very surfacey things there. I just wanted to let you know that that's kind of the direction. Hopefully we cover. All right, Patrick, I got to stop talking. You go for it.
Yeah, no, great to be with everybody. And maybe we'll start here actually, because I think if we look at the deployment of this additive services, you have call queues today. There's some things we can actually add to call queues that will bring in features like queue callback without even elevating to CX. So I might even kind of take us kind of a stair approach here where we look at, AI receptionist, because that's a really great option, whether you go to CX or not, can offer some services for county residents who are trying to get information, maybe even at times a day when we don't have staff available. So we'll build one real quick and show you what that looks like. Really cool tool. A lot of cities and counties are starting to leverage that capability. Can look at even some of the enhanced call queue capabilities. There are callback in the queue. It's called Queue Booster. It even comes with dashboards and services that we can add to the call queues even before we elevate to full CX, and we've got that to share too. So I don't think we're being too ambitious. It's an hour meeting, so we want to be respectful for your time. Hopefully show you a highlight in each of these areas and get folks thinking about what they may want to bring to their departments that would help the county experience, county residents in the area. So beginning here, the traditional system, what you have today are called IVRs. IVRs are kind of the old phone system based menu routing where a call comes in, we press 1, we press 2, we press 3, and I'll kind of show you a visual of what this looks like in my demo system here. These are telephone based menu options where when you select certain, press 1 for animal services, press 3 if you want to hear this menu in a different language. And this is already a part of your system. If you're using it or not using it, these are free and unlimited, and of course, they're today if you need them. What we're seeing though is a shift now to a speech-directed menu solution option. So AI Receptionist does work on usage, meaning unlike IVRs, an AI Receptionist, there's bundles of minutes that you purchase to be able to offer these services. I'm going to create very quickly here, easy to set up. And I think one of the real benefits of the AI Receptionist is you don't need to be an IT AI specialist with a degree or a certification and all this. It is as simple as, and maybe we'll work with the animal shelter here as an example. Here we go. So I can grab this URL from your public facing site, and we're going to add this into the setup here. We're also going to pick, what kind of voice that we like within the flow of the AI receptionist. So you can choose your primary language as English, but county residents who need an alternative language can also have this. What this is going to do is, as I ask questions or have a support need, what time is the shelter open? Who can I speak to about adoptive services? I need to schedule an animal pickup, whatever it may be. The responses will be rendered in that native language. So really cool feature to add language support within that. Of course, a lot of different options for voicing that we can do in here. We're going to call this Lake County Animal Services and go next. This is just a little description. It helps kind of build some of the FAQs. Then we just type in, what do we want for the greeting? So in this case, maybe thank you for calling, animal services. This call is being recorded. You can do that too. How can I help you? We'll just keep it simple here. How can I help you? And then, we don't need the FAQs right now. And there's an office, business, and location. So if the caller were to ask you, what time is the shelter open today, you can actually load in your hours of operations in there, and it can, without having to transfer to someone, can just read off those hours of operations and availability and send them through. So just that simple. I've built now an extension. We can attach an actual Lake County number to it. You could point your direct animal services or animal shelter main number to, whatever that is here on the site, to ring directly into the AI receptionist. Or it could be a menu option that you just present certain hours of the day, maybe not every, 24/7 all day, but if you're closed and or after hours or when you're busy and unable to take the calls live, you could route the calls here. So we've got our greeting. We've got some location information in here. Of course, you could customize this fully about when the shelter and services are open, if that question were to get asked. Transfer by name, if you want to use this, person who's calling could say, I want to talk to Doug Woodyard, or I want to talk to Patrick O'Keefe, and the AI receptionist can just do a direct transfer for you. So it can handle some of that volume, freeing up your internal staff to be able to do more, direct services to those that are at the shelter, or for kind of their day-to-day, not tie them up with a lot of that routine, repetitive answer transfer kind of work. Or you can opt out of the transfer by name. We don't want to allow people to be able to direct transfer into extensions. But where it really gets powerful is you can, one, turn on SMS. So if we wanted to enable texting, we can allow, if I were to call in and ask a question, I'd like to schedule a time to adopt. The AI receptionist can actually text the caller a direct link to your site and the shelter where they can schedule an adoption visit or set up an appointment for that. So another great way is we're trying to be more available in how I got my 2 kittens here, right? My wife scheduled an appointment with the shelter, we adopted, and so being able to allow citizens more direct services to schedule an appointment, the AI receptionist can do that as well. So we can enable texting. Here, I love this feature too, the Knowledge Hub. So when we look at the Knowledge Hub, we can create a knowledge base. We'll call this Lake County Animal Services. And again, you have already created a lot of these this information content on your own site. So I can just take this animal shelter FAQ page, which you've already presented a lot of these routine questions, and add this FAQ page into the Knowledge Hub. And now the AI receptionist immediately has the answers to any of the questions that routinely come up. How do I get veterinary services? How do I handle a trap or get a trap, let's say. So for any of these types of, we'll find a part of the page that's working here. Let's do appointments. Right, so here we're scheduling an appointment. So we could actually take this appointment link, and if I go back to my Air Studio here for Lake County Animal Services, we could set up a frequently asked question where it says, how do I schedule an adoption? Here is the link to schedule, for adoption. And you can, of course, customize this however you like. So is everybody seeing kind of how easy, how quick, and how simple this is to build? And I'm going to put a call in because we built this from not existing to where we are now in the first 5 minutes of this meeting. Right. So right away we've got a knowledge base, we've got information, and it doesn't have to be on your public site necessarily. How do I become a foster? Let's add this one too. Let's go back to our Knowledge Hub. We're actually going to select this one. And I'm going to add one more URL here about fostering. And in just about 10 to 15 seconds, that crawl is going to run across your fosterings page and bring in any and all of this information into the AI receptionist so it can provide the answer if asked for any of these questions. And then one more step, maybe what we'll set up here is a transfer by context skill. And here, rather than ask, hey, I want to talk to Patrick or I want to talk to Jeffrey, we could say a department. So I need to speak to an operator, or I need to talk to somebody about medications. And so maybe we'll transfer this over to a user or a call queue or wherever that needs to go. And you could build out several of these types of scenarios, the types of calls that you may get on a routine basis, lost and found, let's say, right? Or animal traps. And we'll send that to Doug as well, or we can send that to a group of users. So really great feature functionality. I've built my AI Receptionist, just that simple. I've already linked it to multiple sites within your public-facing page for information. I've tooled it up with some transfer by context skills. We're really ready to go ahead and put a call to it kind of here. Anybody have any questions before we just show you how this works with an example? And if you're not in the animal control department, just imagine, right, whether it's landfill services, if somebody were calling in, what are the hours for large drop-offs? What are the types of materials that are accepted? Landfill and trash services. You could have a separate AI receptionist that provides all of that information for that department with its own dedicated number in that way. So I've got a number here, 7368, and we'll put a call in here and kind of listen to how this sounds.
Hello, thanks for calling Animal Services. How can I help you?
Yeah, can you give me information on how to become a foster parent?
All right, let me try to find information on foster parenting. To become a foster parent, you can apply through the Animal Foster Program. The shelter provides all supplies and support needed, and you can foster kittens, mom cats with kittens, pregnant cats, and more. You may also attend a fosterology class to learn the basics. Would you like me to text you the info with the link for easy access?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm going to send SMS to +1 251 378 9714. Is it the right number?
Yeah.
All right, noted. I've sent you a text with the information and the link for easy access. Let me know if you need anything else.
I need a link to book an adoption. Can you send that?
All right, let me see what I can do to send that link for you. You can book an adoption appointment through the adoption scheduling page. Would you like me to text you the info with the link for easy access?
Yeah.
Okay, got it on that. I'm going to send SMS to +1 251 378 9714. Is it the right number?
Yep.
Got
You
it.
could
Thanks for
throttle
confirming.
the confirmation.
I've sent
for
you a
here and there.
text with the adoption booking link for easy access. Let me know if you need anything else.
Yeah, transfer me to someone I can talk to about medications.
All right, let me see who can assist you with medication questions. I can transfer you to the medications department. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, please stay with me a moment. Transferring you to the medications department now, please wait.
So a quick example there, right? Where call comes in, front ends, that caller with information, provides links if you needed. Anything your staff maybe in the building might answer or provide. And again, this is all about just offering those services maybe at times when your in-building staff are really tasked to be handling more pressing needs, treating animal treatment in the shelter or servicing citizens who are coming into the site. That way you're not constantly being interrupted with a lot of these questions. Now, there's other scenarios where, well, all things being equal, as a county services department, we want live answer. We don't want to send customers there or call citizens there first. And that's fine too, right? We could still have those calls come in. They can ring the associated phones in the shelter. All, best case scenario, folks are available. We take that call. And you could offer it as a destination where calls arrive if it's not answered first live. Maybe after 4 rings or a number of rings, we send it there as a fallback. Another use case we had during Hurricane Helene, when the storm was kind of bearing down on Florida and cutting across and coming up the East Coast. We had some cities that were closing city services altogether, county services altogether. So what do we do in those inclement weather scenarios? When the services are going to be closed, normally we would just put up a closure message. The shelter is closed due to the storm. It'll reopen on Monday, or we expect. Call back if you need something. Well, is that the best service that we can offer during that time? What you could do is you could turn on the AI receptionist for that use case and still allow citizens who have those kinds of needs. I found this animal, you know, we need a medication refill. I'm fostering these cats or dogs during this time and have an immediate need. This can be a way that you can offer services even in those times when your county staff are not available at all. Let me pause there. Does anybody kind of see a use case that might resonate with the shelter, or if you are in that department, or even in other departments on this call, do you have some use cases you're thinking of where this might fit that we could talk about, or maybe quickly demo for you too, even?
Don't be shy.
I mean, I think that this would save our staff so much time because we really do get those same questions. Because if you're calling me to ask me what my address is, it seems like you've already Googled my phone number. So why are we talking?
Right. It's a great example. Yeah. Yeah, that constant interruption, it's hard to even put a number to the amount of times during any of our days where we're, the phone rings, we take that call. I've stopped, either servicing what my primary responsibilities would be to do that routine. So it could just be that low-hanging fruit of those kinds of calls you get so repetitively, or there may be even services that you're struggling to offer well because they really do rely on the live resource to perform them. Well, let's free up all of your live staff to do those things that only your staff can do, and just like you said, let the AI receptionist handle the routine answer, transfer, address, location information, those sort of operations for you.
Oh, quick question. So if someone gets frustrated with the AI agent, is it easy for them to say, hey, I want to talk to an operator? Okay.
Great question, Eric. Yeah, so let's go look at that. So in the settings for any AI receptionist will always be this backup extension. They can say, I'm out, transfer me to the receptionist operator, kind of that zero out. In a traditional old school IVR, you had this zero option that people are like, nope, don't want it, don't listen, get me to a live person. So you can always kind of have this abandon out of the AI model if you want. This also goes into effect if we don't provide an answer to a question that comes up, right? I ask, I want to, whatever that may be. My cat I adopted needs a vaccination appointment. I need a recommendation for a veterinarian in the area or something of this nature, right? So I didn't build what the AI model should do with that. The last thing we want is the AI receptionist to just guess or take a shot at answering something you've not trained it or provided it the right answer for. And so in any of those cases, it is going to say, let me get you connected to someone to help you with that. And you can define that destination. It could be one person or it could be a group of phones or users.
Great. And I may be jumping ahead, but do you guys track all the questions that are asked and give that some reports so we can kind of see what the most common ones are? Maybe there's some that we need to address.
Great segue for that. Yeah, let's look at there too. So what you get with AI Receptionist also is analytics and conversation insights. So first, what is it doing in terms of volume? How many calls is it handling? How many are being resolved by that simple answer transfer? Either transfer by context, I've defined, medications, vaccination, whatever I need there, and we're transferring to a department. If we're doing a named directory lookup, I want to talk to Whitney, and you're allowing name transfer, you can see the number of times it's answering and resolving that way. But I think what's really valuable here is common questions that come up. Let me give you a kind of a deeper dive into this. In conversation insights, questions that commonly come up that are unresolved. How many times has this question been asked where we've gotten it and we haven't yet provided the answer for that? So here, like I need help with a second trash pickup, or you can see some of those use cases here are more like education related too. But you can mark this question resolved just by going ahead and providing a manual answer to it. You could upload a static file, so it doesn't have to be an answer that's on the web. It could be a PDF or Word document or knowledge source that you've already built for your staff, either in training or otherwise, to provide that answer. you can also see, the questions that we have resolved, what commonly comes up in here. And you filter these by certain departments too. So one that I've got maybe more calls through here, what items are acceptable for drop off or what items are acceptable for pickup. And we can see and drill down on all the times when those calls have come in. And you can even go further, actually pulling the transcript of any of those interactions that route through the AI receptionist. Should you ever get a call from a resident that said, I called in and this is what the AI receptionist told me, that's not true, right? So you get in this kind of, oh, no, I asked and they said you were open, or they said this is what I should do, or it texted me this information. Anytime there's ever a question about the data that was presented, you have access to the full call history. I could search and say, show me any call to and from that cell phone number that came in, and then let's look at, what was asked during that call, and then what answers were provided as a result of it, or where, ultimately where did it get transferred. So Eric, to your question, both the summary level data, analytics, call volume, call handle, transfer, and common questions, as well as full detailed transcripts. If a call is recorded, if you want to do recording, you'll even see you can listen to the call if you want to listen back to
Hello,
that.
thanks for calling Animal Services. How can I help you?
So you can replay that, and you can see here's that text I got earlier about fostering and what was sent. When it sent me the pet adoption link, I can see what it's being, what it's routing there. So just a lot of great tools should you have the case where you need to drill down on what was provided or validate that.
Thanks. How long does the call history go back for?
Great question. So by default, it's going to store the last 6 months of call analytics details. You can expand that if you want to go back a year or even multiple years, but default retention will be 6 months.
It's an extra charge for retaining it for longer.
Yeah, it actually ties to that retention extension ties to just normal analytic call detail data. So the default retention on just typical call detail data is 6 months. If you expand it to the 1 year, it expands also the retention of the AI receptionist transcript history too.
And then last question.
Yeah.
When you specify a website or I'm guessing you could probably specify a PDF that might be linked on your website. How often does it refresh that to get new data, or do you have to manually go in and tell it that it updated?
That's exactly correct. So the date and time that we add the knowledge document will be the only data, or that will be the data that it has. If the website is updated, and the product team sort of did this intentionally, in the event that a web URL were compromised, it is not going to recrawl that site unless you go back in and refresh it. So it's a way for IT or leadership in the county who's going to manage it to always know that the documents that it's provided or the web URLs it's provided were provided by the admin, and it wasn't an auto update of any sort that could potentially start offering the wrong information.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, what's really cool here too, if we were, these web URLs were all offered in English, right? But if we offer the Air Studio to present in multi-language, so if we picked, Spanish as a secondary option, now the caller who calls in, if they were to just speak natively in their native language, you don't have to do translation on those knowledge articles. AI Receptionist will translate it for you or for the caller, which is another great benefit in cities and resident. Like I'm here in Atlanta, we have a large immigration community of lots of different residents from around the world, and so services like this in those sorts of counties, it's crucial, right? You don't have to maintain all of that knowledge documentation in these different languages. Today, these are the languages that have been added to support. There were some requests for additional language expansion, and if there is anything in your population that would be really beneficial, let us know. We can submit that as an enhancement request to the product team because they're continuing to add new languages to the Air Studio. All right, so just an example there. Again, quick and easy. It's usage-based. One more little piece here I'll just mention. I showed the example of just I'll text you a link to the booking site, which was your appointment scheduler here, where you can actually the resident could pick and book if you want. There is another option to do calendar access. So not sure that this would be required, but if Lake County were using a shared Office 365 calendar, separate from this Calendly or this service, if there were any other departments, because I know we got different departments represented here, that weren't using a web URL to book these type of appointments, the AI Receptionist can link to shared calendars and be permitted to book into those shared calendars as well. So sometimes we see this in city and county services where like a parks department may have offer the ability for citizens to book pavilions or book rooms in in a rec center, things like that. So just know that the skills are not just, I can text you a link where you're doing that booking already. It can actually book directly into a shared calendar of sorts as well. All right, so just high level there on AI Receptionist and functionality. Next, I want to talk about Call Queue Booster. This will be an enhancement license to just your normal call queues if you needed it. Here I've got an animal services queue. Let me see if this one's boosted, enhanced. Yeah. So if we wanted to, if we add a license for Call Queue Booster, it does allow you to bring features like position in the queue or callback request. And if we enable callback request, this means I can call into a normal RingCentral queue just as you're licensed for today. And if the queue were busy or we're waiting in line, callback request will allow the caller to press 1, hold their place in line. They can go about their day. And when they reach their spot in the queue, when they reach the front of the line, the system will connect them back by calling the number that they dialed from. So it's really a kind of a traditional contact center feature, but it's a great way for citizens who maybe call into departments where at times there's long waits, maybe 5th in line or maybe 2nd in line, but the call talk time is long, right? Maybe on average, these calls may go 5 to 10 minutes. So rather than just wait and listen to the Lake County musical and hold, we offer that callback request where I can go about my day. When I reach the front of the line, I'm connected to the agent. So it's just like I'm holding there, but I don't have to waste my minutes or waste my time with my spot in line. Reason I'm mentioning this actually doesn't require a full elevation to CX. Now this feature, like many other contact center features, are going to be in RingCX or the customer experience license. But Call Queue Booster is a new add-on pack to what you already have today if you just want to bring some of these basic voice features to your call queues.
I'm sorry, Patrick.
Yeah.
I think that might be a better solution than going to full CX. When he talks CX, just so y'all understand, our normal license we call it an EX. The enhanced, more features call queue is the CX.
Yeah.
But adding this booster might be a great solution. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right on. And it comes with some optional things too. Estimated wait time. Not every city or county wants to share that, but sometimes it's helpful. My position in the queue, you're 3rd in line, and your estimated wait time is 2 minutes. There's direct correlation to, callers will hold longer if they're told about approximately how long the wait would be. But it can do all of these, right? You can actually turn on position in the queue or wait time and call back, and they could choose, hey, you can hold or you can just press 1. We'll hold your spot in line and connect you back when you reach the front of the line. It'll be approximately 10 minutes, whatever it may be. The way this is licensed, based on the number of, we call them agents, but really people or users who are in that queue. So animal services here, if I wanted to bring the Call Queue Booster features to animal services, I would need 3 Call Queue Booster licenses because I have 3 members in this queue. Now, if Kim and Candace and Ruth are actually county services who take calls across multiple queues, animal services and let's say sanitation, I would, I might only, I only need the license once, in other words. So if Candace is in 2 queues where I want booster, she only needs 1 license. But I'll have an add-on license for each person who's in that queue that I'm boosting, if that makes sense. Now, one other feature that, oh, go ahead, Whitney. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So is there a way where we could only allow people to request a callback if they were on a certain branch of the tree? So like, I don't want to call everybody back, but like if you're calling me because I have your pet, right? And you know, you've got some reclaim issues, you're out of town, you don't have money, your car broke down, whatever. I definitely want to be able to call you back.
Good question. The way we would need to do that would be, so the answer is yes. It might require a little bit of retooling. So in the example you shared was, they're actively adopting or fostering now would be the scenario?
No, like their pet got picked up as a stray. Maybe they went to jail and they are now out of jail and they need help to get their dog back.
Okay, perfect. So in order to present that call queue feature, a callback request feature, it's going to be assigned to whatever the queue or department the call has come in on. So how do we know that? We probably would have something on the front end, whether it's AI Receptionist or it's just a menu option off of the traditional tree that says if your pet was picked up by animal services, or you're having trouble locating your lost animal, or I don't know, however you just categorize it, right? They're going to need to select an option that gets them into that specific queue. Because remember, you can have as many queues as you need. There's no cost for that. So you could have one that's just general questions in animal control or animal services, but you might have this other one that is specific for that scenario, location of a lost animal, or and in that queue, then we would offer callback. But in the normal or general animal services or animal control queue, we wouldn't turn that feature on. So that might be how I would think about, that might be a good way to solve that. I don't know if that would work to provide that. Now, how do you prevent somebody from just picking that queue? You probably can't, right? So if somebody selected it or said, yeah, you have my pet, and you don't, then if they arrive in that queue, they're going to be offered that option for callback request. So we might just need to think about together how we build that or design that, Douglas. Yeah, go ahead.
Patrick, I know you'll probably cover this, but just so Whitney understands too, that we're not prompting the citizen that you have to call them back. It's prompting the citizen if they want to kind of keep their place in line and get a call back. And the system will call, it's if it's a live phone call coming in, but it's just a live trigger coming in. It's next in line. And then, Patrick, I need your help there. But typically you would click something and it would automatically call them back as if they were still in line. So it's not like you're going to get a list of things you got to sit and call people back, if that's a worry.
That's a great point. Yeah. Now you could offer almost like a voicemail. If this is the case, leave your name and number and we'll call you back. That's a way for it not to retain their position, but you're getting a specific kind of repository or mailbox that you can access of any citizen who's is requesting a callback. And you don't want the live callback. You just want to be able to follow up on that. You could definitely have a dedicated mailbox where those callers are dropped into, if you want. But to Doug's point, absolutely correct. This would be a call I've called in. I'm live connected. It's just rather than me stay on the line, I push one, it hangs me up. I can go about my day, but in reality, my call is still in the queue. I'm still retaining my spot in line. When I get to the front of the line, the system calls me back on my cell. Great questions. This is another feature. This is live dashboards and reports that comes with Call Queue Booster. You don't have today, but you would have for that queue. I've just built an example dashboard here, but if management or leadership wanted to have in a Chrome tab or up on a TV, if you wanted even rendering there, but in your own web browser, I can always see what are the number of calls that are in the queue right now. And if you wanted to have a widget, you could even have it render and report on just your queue And so you can see what are the active wait times in the queue, how are we, how many calls have we taken? Here comes one that's new into the queue, it's waiting. So, what are my agents or stations or phones that are going to be ringing to receive that call? This gives you live visibility if you wanted to be able to see, what's happening in real time. And this comes with Booster. You get it for any queues that you boost and the users that are part of those queues. All right. Going to pivot over, just looking at the time. I do want to give you kind of a tour through these different features, but just to show, we do have an example of CX if you wanted to see that. In CX, customer experience, and just the terminology, RingEX is employee experience. That's what you all have today. That's a fundamental base license for RingCentral, comes included with all of the features that you already know and have today. When we add a license for CX, we see this a lot in 311 departments, public works, services, where the users who are part of these queues really may work more for the most of their day from the desktop, from the laptop, from the desktop experience. They're at their console during the day, and it's their expectation, there to take and receive these calls from here. This is different, though, than a smaller city or county department where your staff is up and about throughout the day. You're on premise. Your responsibilities don't have you sitting at a console all day. They really have you up and about. So I just want to share that because in CX, it's going to be really intended for a department user that may be working more from a soft phone, from their computer through the duration of shift. That's how those calls are going to arrive in to them. But it's very powerful, right? And for those county services that need more than just voice, it brings a lot of bang to the feature set, a lot more even than what the booster license provides. So here I've got a call that comes in. Traditionally you would have a feature like in the contact center where I might want to pop to the agent a script. Thank you for calling Lake County Trash Services. How can I help you today? Or thank you for calling, Board of Commissioners. All these different departments can have their own queues. Animal Services could have this as well. And in this scenario, I might have different application services that I pop to the agent taking that call. But as you can already tell, the whole kind of vibe here is I'm working more from a console, not so much up and about from desk phones throughout my brick and mortar kind of space. So I wouldn't probably put anybody in this application whose primary responsibility is to be active and handling calls while they're doing other things up and about. This is really kind of for the person who's at their console. Now, during this call, there are some really cool features too, right? Like, so for example, I could ask a question like, I'll mute my city audience. What are acceptable items for recycling? And so now you can see this comes with a feature called Agent Assist. While the question is asked, we can query that knowledge base that we're building, whether it was for AI Receptionist or just in general, and prompt to the agent the answer for next best action for that, right? You could link to the Lake County Services. This happens to be City of Memphis, but you could offer this kind of knowledge-based lookup in real time, just listening to the conversation that's occurring and providing next best action to the agent so they know where to take that. And this really helps elevate the staff who are taking these calls. If they're very new to the county department, they haven't had it, years in that role, don't know the answer to a lot of these kind of questions. You build that knowledge hub and it's directing the agent to the answer to that question that's asked in real time. So let me pause here. I know some of this can be way over what you kind of expect, but these are newer feature functionality that have come to contact center as we're now here in 2026. So we want to show you some of the art of the possible. Does anybody kind of looking at this think this might be a fit for their department?
Potentially in solid waste, especially with new personnel or in hurricane situations, we have people who aren't in solid waste answering the phone. So a prompt could potentially be very helpful.
Perfect. Yeah, this is an add-on license in CX called Agent Assist, and we can show you some budgetary pricing if that is helpful. You'll also notice there's a feature called checklists. This is just based on what the caller has asked. You as managers and leaders in that department can prompt a checklist to that agent taking the call. Hey, because they're asking about solid waste, go ahead and ask some of these kind of questions that we want you to clarify. What is your address? And it'll check off for them based on those questions that are coming up. So really helpful there if you want some of this automation of direction. The only dependency on this, so just so everybody knows, the dependency on this is that the call needs to be recorded. If we're not going to record calls, then you can't have these kind of agent-directed features because it requires that the call is recorded in order to provide some of these additive directive features. But maybe you want calls recorded anyway, and that can be a benefit if you're doing recording. Another element to this that you can add on is a product called AI Conversation Expert. So when this call wraps up, or after the fact, AI Conversation Expert allows us to have, based on the repository of those calls, all of the calls that we're recording for public waste services, you have not just the access to the recordings of those calls, but in leadership, you can see, what are some of the insights into these conversations that are arising. So I'm going to show you an example of this. Let's say we're looking at, all the calls that have come in for county services. You can start to see, word spotting and topic clouds, what's coming up commonly, and then a breakdown of these inbound calls. What percentage are related to certain topics? And you can kind of click in and get a better. So this sometimes has come up in city services, county services, where leadership wants to know, what are the citizens calling most about? What are the top topics, trackers that we want to kind of identify that are most commonly occurring, and give us a little bit of a breakdown into issues and breakdown for those. So under waste management, what are some of these top items that are continuing to occur, or into permitting, for example, that are continuing to come up? And beyond just the summary level data, the high level data, you can have, with management access, I've got maybe a repository of, let's say 2,500 recordings from this week, or maybe stretching out over the month, I've got thousands of recordings. How do I go find the ones that I want to better train my agents on? Let's say I know that I've got Tina on my staff. She's been with us for years. She can handle any, a solid waste question that comes up. So I want to come in here and say, show me all calls that we detect an upset caller. The sentiment analysis of the call is detecting the caller is upset. So immediately I'm filtered down on 2,500 call recordings to 155 of them. And I can go grab one of these as an example, and let's pick a city-related one here. Let's go, well, we'll just pick on this one. This is more of an IT support type issue. But before I listen to the entirety of this call, I'm getting an AI-generated summary of exactly what was discussed. In fact, I might even go further and say, show me calls related to, if I can spell that right, recycling. So anywhere in the conversation where recycling has come up. And here I want to pick on this one from December 16th. It's about a 3-minute call. Before I even listen to it, I get a complete breakdown of what they're complaining about. Trash has not been picked up for 2 weeks. I want to be transferred to the city manager's office. Customers asking about recycling pickup and items that are acceptable. So maybe this is one that she did a great job with. Again, just as leadership, immediately giving the ability to filter down to moments and types of interactions that you're looking for. You can get a full timeline breakdown of Tina in this conversation. You could search the full transcript. Where did they ask to speak to the city manager? And jump right to that part of the call where that was requested. So this is Conversation Expert, or ACE, AI Conversation Expert, which allows you to take that library of recordings, which is all of the the database of moments that are important that you would want to garner insight from, and really drill down on any type of interaction. It'll even allow you to build what are called trackers. These are flags that you could say, I want to know anytime trash pickup is mentioned, anytime their caller is upset. And if that occurs in the timeline of any call, I want the AI model to flag that for me. So now you in leadership can jump right to these moments and really see what is the percentage breakdown of all of my solid waste calls that my staff are handling. And whether for training or otherwise, you could build scorecards and evaluation for these agents. You could even add these kinds of calls to a library of, navigating a customer complaint or navigating a citizen complaint. And then the next training meeting with Tina and all the team, we're going to elevate her and kind of say, look how she took this call, and this is what we want you to do. This is a model scenario for elevating kind of the citizen experience, interacting with solid waste. So giving you a couple of examples how we've seen ACE implemented in the contact center. Also want you to know, if you like this application, it actually doesn't require CX. You can add this ACE tool to a normal call queue, right? All it requires is the call is recorded. But now we can bring in recordings, whether they're in the base call queues that you have today or they're from a CX call queue, and you want this kind of conversation insight. Let me pause there. Does this look like something that, again, way overkill, possibly intriguing and interesting or beneficial? Kind of yield out to the floor there.
Intriguing.
You stunned them. There you go.
All right. Intriguing. We'll take it. We'll take it. It's, silence is acceptance. No, but we can. You talk about other use cases where this may fit and play in. Keep in mind, when we add ACE or this conversation expert, it does expand the retention for call recordings to a year for you. So this will give you an ability, a portal that you can log in and have access to every one of those recordings with speech analytics, the ability to search the transcripts of every one of those calls, and have the retention go back a full year. If ever you needed to share this interaction and say, hey, you know what, I really want to take this to a leadership meeting. I don't want to give my leadership full access to this because it's too much for everybody. So I'd like to maybe download this call and save it as an MP3, and I'm going to take it just into my own meeting, and you could do that too. So the tool really gives management that ability to look at. We'll go here all the time at a high level. Look at what are these breakdowns by trackers, so you can see. Here's Tina. She's taken 89 of the calls that are upset have come to her. I want to just look at those, right? I want to look at any call where the caller has been upset that she handled, or anytime certain things have come up like housing or escalation or supervisor request. So this tracker mapping allows you to really look at full sentiment analysis and these moments that come up in these interactions. All right, so just giving you a preview there. One other I just wanted to share when it comes to the contact center that Doug mentioned at the outset. We showed an example of a voice call. The system also supports web chat. So you'll see I put a little example of a chat widget here on this, just I'm hovering it over your normal site. But if I went to solid waste or I went to animal services and you wanted to allow them to chat and say, I have a question about big trash pickup during the storm. You can route this chat into your contact center to an agent just like you would route a voice call. So now Patrick, because he's logged into the contact center, he's available. Now you can offer real-time chat. Now you've got to kind of decide when you'd offer that and when you wouldn't, but you'll notice that same agent assistance allows you to let your team members go right into a real-time chat with the citizen, handle that. And so it's not an AI chat. It's not like a chat bot. We've all kind of seen those on different sites. This is really connecting your team, who may also be handling voice calls, to a chat queue that you might stand up or enable on the site for real-time chat. And there's direct data. Citizens maybe not always want to call. There's certain demographic that always will call, but some citizens will prefer to chat over call. And if you want to open up that as a channel of interaction, that is something that RingCX or the contact center application does provide. So I know we've thrown a lot at you guys in 55 minutes here, from AI Receptionist, Call Queue Booster, ACE, or the conversation expert, the recording library tool, to chat here. But just in the time we have remaining, because I want to be respectful for the time you guys have set aside to be with us today, is there anything you haven't seen that's crucial to your operations or is top of mind for you and your operations that I could either help show or answer as it relates to capabilities, possibilities?
I have a question about a possibility.
Okay, yeah, fire away.
I'm sorry, Whitney, go ahead.
Okay, so is there a way where, we have multiple people who are answering the phone, for them to record, like type in notes about a phone call that another agent can see should that person call back later?
Great question. Great question. So in the CX tool, I'm going to just disposition this one real quick. We'll kind of get out of the chat for a second. In the CX tool, there is a feature that comes with CX called the Customer Information Panel. Now, this would require, let me mute my double mute here. This would require moving the calls to CX. And it's not necessarily a CRM or customer relationship management system, but in the Customer Information Panel, I'm matching on caller the phone number. So if Dan here has called, the reason I have Dan's name even is because I saved it. But RingCX does allow you to kind of create, as you start taking calls, I'm going to put his name in here, I've got his number. It will match for the next person any prior calls. So now I can see all the other calls that I've gotten from this phone number, and this AI generated note or summary, if the call's recorded, the note or summary of what was discussed. It's a really important question because in a lot of systems, counties and otherwise, they're storing that data into a full CRM, customer relationship management system. It's really not intended to be RingCentral. We are a lot of times screen popping whatever that data source would be normally. In some systems, they're using Tyler Technologies. There's city and county software applications that are built for that. But if you're in a department that doesn't have that tool or have that solution, the CX application does offer this customer information panel to see conversation history. So it is possible. I don't know if you want to elevate to CX to get that necessarily. You might, but it does kind of pivot the user off of desk phones more into the soft phone experience from the laptop. So you would have to kind of compromise maybe some on taking calls from desk phones and moving more into soft phone experience, but it might give you that conversation history you're looking for. I guess second question to that, Whitney, is do y'all have in the shelter, do y'all have a CRM solution that you do to log, residents who are participating in or who have adopted pets or fostering based on their phone number or based on their information profile?
No, so we have person records that are in our shelter management database, but the creation of a person record, it's kind of time consuming. So there's just literally no way that you would answer the phone, and then search their phone number in there, see if they have a pre-existing account, confirm that it's the right person, and then,
Right.
go through. I mean, it's not feasible, especially, people will call us 3 times in a single day with different stories, but they're talking to 3 different people, and we have no way to really track that.
I got you. I think this could bridge that for you. There's just those dependencies. In order to get this AI generated summaries where I can see, when Dan called in here previously, he talked to Tina on December 23rd. This was the date. This AI generated summary is occurring because this call is recorded. and it may be great. The animal shelter you may be fine with recording those calls, or maybe already do that today. But if we don't record it, we don't get the summary, in which case it doesn't automatically notate the history for the forum. And then I think the other dependency is you probably pivot off of desk phones in the shelter for these kinds of calls and be taking them more entirely from a soft phone. And I don't know if logistically if that's possible. Maybe it's fine, no problem at all. But I've seen in our deployments sometimes those shelters are more physical space oriented, and folks are taking calls from wall-mounted desk phones or countertop desk phones, not necessarily logging into a portal like this for an 8-hour shift. But I didn't want to say no because it's possible. It would just might take some change of operational flow there. Great question. David, you had a question as well?
So we get a few hundred calls a day. About half of them are for bulk requests. Is there anything, because I see you have a lot of uses for your prompts. If we were to prompt questions that would ask for their address, number, the information we need to set up a bulk pickup and kind of tie that into a spreadsheet for us, is that a possibility where it could like auto-populate the information we need?
Great question. One thing I'm thinking on that, we could test it or test the scenario for it. Inside the AI Receptionist, if I were to ask for bulk pickup, and before I transfer to a user or department or wherever, we can turn on what's called lead capture. Now, what this allows the system to create a questionnaire. So we call this bulk pickup questions. And let's say anytime someone calls in and they ask to speak to somebody in bulk trash pickup, they're going to be transferred to this department. But before they get transferred there, we want to walk them through a questionnaire. And you can ask up to 3 questions. It will confirm their name and phone number. And you can ask up to 3 questions here. So, what do you normally ask? Like address, items for pickup? What is your address for bulk pickup request? We could ask another one here too. When do
What are the items? Yeah, well, you could ask, what are the items?
What are the items or a brief description to be picked up? And maybe, when would you need your pickup? So let's say I want to use this, right? And we're going to turn this on and just test it real quick. 7368.
Hello, thanks for calling Animal Services. How can I help you? Please say English or Spanish to continue.
I need to speak to somebody about a bulk trash pickup.
All right, let me see if I can get you someone about a bulk request. I can transfer you to the bulk pickup department. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, please stay with me a moment. Before I connect you, I'd like to gather a bit of information to make sure we handle your request properly. May I go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. May I have your full name, please?
Patrick O'Keefe.
Could you please confirm if you'd like us to use this number for future contact?
Yeah.
No problem, I got that. What is your address for bulk pickup request?
123 Main Street, Anytown,
All right,
USA.
got that noted. What are the items or a brief description to be picked up?
I need to pick up a couch, a refrigerator, and a grill.
Okay, noted on that. When would you need your pickup?
I'd like to have it tomorrow morning if you can, but next week would be fine.
Just a moment, I have noted your preference. Thank you for completing the questionnaire. Transferring you to the bulk pickup department now.
So that last step is up to you, right? What it's designed to do is ask those questions before it does a live transfer. You could transfer that caller to a automated voice prompt that says, If you have any other details that you want to leave them now. It could leave a voicemail message if you want. But now that I've completed that lead questionnaire, I can go back, or you would be able to go back into this leads database and pull and see the answers to the questions that were asked, what needed to be picked up. I have the name and phone number of the caller and when they're requesting the example. So that's just a quick example. I mean, of what might work, of allowing it to ask up to 3 questions in addition to the name and number, and then where you can access this data, you would come into your admin portal, pull up those lead capture responses, and you'd have a date and time stamp for any of these. You could download to a spreadsheet, what you need. Does that look like that might fit? Or
Yeah, that looks great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute when I was answering your questions.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. Eric, did you have a question?
You wouldn't have to initiate that on just a transfer, right? That could just be an option that you could collect that information and say, okay, someone will call you back to talk about your bulk pickup soon.
Great question. So today, it's invoking these lead captures after the caller has asked to be transferred for that issue or that topic. We've already requested to product to a couple of things that you'll notice when she asked, do you want to, will you participate in a quick survey? The caller today can say no, and they're not asked these questions, and they're just sent to the destination. So that's why it might, in the current configuration, without being able to enforce the questions or not allow the caller to opt out of the questions, you might send them to a voicemail box in case they did say no. They can still leave their detailed information, and you'd hear it in a voicemail collection that you'd then need to put into the spreadsheet manually. So that was one change we've already asked on behalf of the questionnaire. The second was that we'd like the questionnaire to occur even without asking for bulk trash first. So in some scenarios, I select bulk trash. I want this questionnaire asked. That we've already asked product to be able to invoke this capture questionnaire without being asked first to transfer somewhere. Again, today they're going to have to ask for that. I need a bulk trash pickup. We're going to attempt to do a transfer. Before we transfer, we're going to ask these questions. Now, again, the transfer doesn't have to go to the live department. It could go to a message that lets them know we've collected your details and we'll be following up with you at the number you provided. So that's current state, just knowing that we've already requested some features to be able to be tweaked to enforce the questionnaire in all cases.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. This, again, does not require CX. It doesn't even require call queue booster. AI Receptionist is just a bundled minute usage. So one thing we didn't talk about was cost. The way this product works is you buy bundles of minutes. This call I just had was 1 minute and 25 seconds. It rounds to every 30 seconds. So this would deduct 1 minute and 30 seconds of the bundle. And they're purchased in 100-minute bundles. So it's effectively how it translates. So again, some city services, some county services want it only for specific functions, like we just described there. I'm sure there's a operational cost, productivity time. If you don't have to call every person, you're trying to collect the database to follow up with them. They're giving you a litany. I'm throwing out the trash. I'm throwing out the couch because my dog peed on it, and I don't need all these details, right? So we're freeing up a lot of human time, human cost time, associated to the cost of the usage bundle. But that's kind of how it stacks up in terms of in order to deploy this feature, all you need is the bundle.
What happens when you run out of minutes?
Good question. Today, it continues to function. It doesn't shut down, but it bills at an overage. So the first bundle is $39 for 100 minutes. So effectively 39 cents a minute. If you go over the 100 minutes, it's 50 cents a minute. So that's really the only impact. And of course, you could gauge, I don't really know how many minutes I need. You could start with just a 100-minute bundle. As Jeffrey's on here, and your account team, George, if you find, hey, we're getting a lot more calls than we thought, we might need to add a couple bundles. You can just add the extra ones. Once you add them, though, you have that minute allotment every month. So you might have a hurricane comes in, boom, I got tons of residents with bulk trash pickup needs, flooding, wet carpets and all this. You might get a surge of calls in some months. So those months you might end up with more overage. but other months you'll have the allocation of minutes each month.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess that would be one concern is if we do have an event and oh crap, all of a sudden we went from 100 minutes a month to 4,000 in 24 hours. I don't.
Yeah,
you can nice decide. If there's a way to just kind of stop it, you know.
Yeah, you can absolutely just point them away and go to a normal or traditional IVR menu like this that's free, or bulk trash could go to a voicemail box where you just allow the caller to leave their name and information, and you'd need to do the manual transposing of it. So there's some things you can just quickly pivot away from it if you recognize you're exceeding what you budget for that kind of tool, and don't want to use it in those times.
Are there any like automated alerts that will send out like once you've reached 75% of your minute bundles?
Good question. Yeah, it does offer, you'll notice here, this little splash alert, that can send an email to the admin. I think though it would go to Doug, if I remember right, or it goes to the root super admin, not necessarily the administrator of the department. So it'd be more of probably a system notification we want to keep eyes on for it. And of course you can come in here at the portal at any time and kind of see, I've exceeded my allotment. I need to go ahead and add a bundle.
Right. Okay.
And this probably more of a question for Jeffrey or George. Is there a discount rate on that, or is that just a flat rate for across the board? I mean, do we get it at our discount level, or?
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Patrick,
good
there's no
question.
volume discount when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I could get you the specific numbers on the level of like what volume we need to hit for the discount. Because I don't have that one readily available, but we can get it for that. Get it for you.
Yep.
Very good.
Great questions. We've got this meeting recorded. I know we went a little bit over the allotted time. I don't have a hard stop until 10:30, so I'm happy to stay on if anybody has some other questions that you'd like more details on. Don't want to hold anybody from their Friday as well, so let you back to what we've got. Any other additional use cases or technical questions or anything top of mind that we can help answer for you?
Nothing for me. I appreciate the demo, and I think probably share this recording with some of our other departments too, and see if there's any other interest.
Yeah, happy to do it. And also, Doug, we've worked with the county for many years now. Happy to get on it live as well. So if I don't want to just leave you with the recording, and happy at any time if there's another department with any specific use cases, we'll set that up with Doug, and we can do this session again live, letting those stakeholders participate as well. So I don't want you to feel like this is the only shot and then the movie afterwards to look back at it. We'll provide you with it, but just let us know if you need another 30-minute or hour session to share and show with any other departments. Happy to do that.
Great. I guess, for our users, Whitney, David, Josta, Tracy, if you want to, give me and Doug some feedback, and we can take it from there too.
We'll do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody.
Sounds good. We'll do.
Thank you, Patrick.
Have a good one.
This is excellent.
Have a great weekend. Douglas, let me know, Doug, if there's anything you need at all.
You're going to send me this recording?
Yeah, it usually takes a little bit to process, but I'll send you a recording where you can share it. It'll be like a web URL. I can even send you where you can get the MP4 as well if you want to download it and save it.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful.
All right.
Excellent.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great weekend.
You too.
Take care.